Hello everyone and welcome to the Control Room Talk Show. I'm Clara.
And I'm Agathe, and we're happy to have you here with us today.
Today we're diving into how online entertainment such as games, streaming or AI are reshaping the way we live, work and connect with people.
Online entertainment, what a subject, don't you think?
Yes, it's crazy how something we did just for fun has become a huge part of how we live. For example, we use online platforms not only to relax after work, but also to communicate, to follow news, or even to build careers.
Exactly, and what's even more interesting is how it's changing our habits. Think about it. Social media impacted our screen time. Online gaming has created international communities, and AI is redefining what we consider creative work.
To help us explore all of this tonight, we also have two amazing interviewers joining the show, Cloé and Loann, who will guide us through the conversations with our guests and bring in expert insights along the way.
And speaking of guests, we have an incredible lineup today. Cyril Badoz, who helped develop the Girondin esports team of Bordeaux, and Cyril Jouison, a specialist in digital culture and social effects of new technologies.
Now, online entertainment can be explored through different lenses, and today we will cover three of them. First, digital sport and competition, then the relationships and communities, and finally, media and AI culture. All right, everyone, I'm not really good at sports, but esport is something I can get around. Once considered a niche for hardcore gamers, esport has exploded in popularity worldwide, especially here in France.
That's right. From high school partnerships to professional teams, esport is no longer just a game. It's creating real career paths and even shaping the way young people think about education.
But, like any booming industry, it comes with its own set of challenges, such as competitive pressures or mental health concerns.
Today, we'll explore how esport teams became mainstream in France, the real business behind it, and the challenges they face today.
Across France, some high schools and universities now offer esports scholarships and degrees. The goal? Train the next generation of professional players, analysts, and industry professionals.
But here's the question. Are these programs truly preparing students for real careers, or are they just capitalizing on a trend?
And also, are these programs a smart investment or just a money trap? Some schools promise fame and careers, but the reality can be much more competitive. To know more about it, let's welcome our journalists.
Hello, everyone. Who better to talk about this subject than an expert? Let's hear it from Cyril Badoz.
So to begin with, could you introduce yourself first?
So my name is Cyril Badoz. I'm 28 and I used to be the chief of esports section of Girondin Bordeaux.
Okay, perfect. So I will ask you some questions. The first one is, do you think the economic model of esport is sustainable in France?
So for me, this question is a bit tricky because esport is very wide. It's like sports. There is different games. Each game has its own way to be organized, their own way to have competition. So in some games, yes, esport economic system is sustainable. In other games, it's still very amateur and there is not really a way to generate revenue. And also, it also depends on the objective of each structure. Some structures are here to promote a brand. It was the case for LDLC, for example, for BK Rogue. They all promote some computer brand stuff. Other structures come from influencers, so it's more about notoriety and stuff like that. And other structures are only esport teams. And I think it's for those ones which it's the most complicated to find a proper economic system because they have to build a community and they have to find revenue that don't come from a specific brand or stuff. So it's for those ones that it's the top.
Okay. And what challenges exist when building a new sport inside traditional clubs?
The first challenge is that when you're a club, you are expected to go on EAFC because it's a football game. So it's the first game where they expect you to go, but it's not the game that is profitable. It's not the easiest way to make revenue and it's not big viewership. So it's where you expect it to go, but it's not the best way to start in esports. So this is kind of complicated, and it's also complicated to have fans and board accept that you would go on another game that is not seen as compatible with a sports structure. You cannot go on Counter-Strike with terrorists and blood animations every time when you're a football club. Is not something that people would accept.
And what do you think of esport training being part of school or academies?
For me, it's a complicated topic because to go into esports, you have to be the best of the best in your game. So it's not something that a school can teach you. The school can teach you how to be, I don't know, many jobs that you can apply without being the best of the best. But most of the school that have this kind of paying ones, so people will pay to come into an esport course where there is absolutely no guarantee that you will go into esports after that. Most of the time, it's like 1% of people that will go there. It's kind of like when you go in a football club and you are a young player that is 15 and you are in the training camp and you expect to become pro, but you are not sure. But in this case, it's the club that pays you. So it's correct. I think that in the other way, when it's the player that pays for the club, it's not very correct because you sell something that you're really not sure of to reach. Also, it's fair to pay for having the right conditions to perform and to progress, but you have to be aware that there is very few chances that you succeed. So for me, the role of schools that include this kind of program is to warn parents and the children that there is very few chances to succeed. So you can pay to have the conditions, but it's only to have the conditions.
And what does performance mean in sport? Like mental preparation, physical preparation?
For me, it's the same as in traditional sports. It's a combination of many elements. There is, of course, physical ability because when you play on a keyboard, for example, you need big coordination on being able to press the right button at the right timing, being able to coordinate both hands that have very different controls. There is often the mouse and the keyboard. There is also cognitive performance because you have to be able to be very focused. You have to be able to get as much information as possible with your eyes, to analyze it with your brain very fast, to be very reactive, have big reflexes. So there is all this part, and there is also a big part of strategic performance. Then it depends really on the game and stuff like that. But there is strategic, anticipation, cognition, and also physical ability, and also of course mental preparation. Be able to be focused, not too stressed and stuff like that. So for me, it's the same as traditional sports. It's just that you don't develop a lot of strength, but there is still the same aspect of performance.
And finally, could you describe the future of esport in 3 words?
For me, it's first of all, it's fan base. Esport team need to build strong fan base. It's starting a lot with influencer teams, and traditional teams need to work on this to build strong fan base. For me, the second word is broadcast. Esport needs to structure its broadcast and to have revenue coming from this broadcast because currently it's not something that they can earn money with. And for me, the third thing is professionalization and structure. Teams need to structure more. There is still a lot of very amateur ways to work in esports. So even if from the outside we see it as something big and something very professional, from the inside there is still some very amateur ways to work, and they need more structure legally and in the way to work.
Okay, thank you. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cyril, once again. It was very interesting hearing from someone who actually helped build an esports section inside a traditional football club. Gives us a much clearer vision of how complex the ecosystem really is. And one thing is clear, esport isn't just growing, it's transforming the culture in real time.
Exactly. Teams like Gentlemates prove that gaming now has the power to create icons, inspire communities, and bring people together, just like in traditional sports.
And with the Olympic Games slowly opening their door to digital competition, we might be witnessing the start of a historic shift, which is one where virtual arenas stand alongside stadiums.
Yes, but for esport to truly reach its potential, we also have to face what's happening behind the scenes, behind the screens, such as online toxicity. It's a challenge that affects player, teams, and fans every single day.
And the future of esport will depend on how we choose to build it, so more inclusive, more responsible, and more professional.
Yes. On that note, Clara and Agathe, the floor is yours.
So to sum up, esport has gone mainstream in France, culturally recognized and professionalized.
But it's not without limits, like competitive pressure, job market challenges, and educational pressure. That reminds us it's a serious industry with real stakes, not just a hobby.
One thing's clear, esport is here to stay.
Absolutely. And this leads naturally to our next theme. Because behind competitions, teams, and digital platforms, there's something even more important.
How our online interactions shape our relationships, our behaviors, and the way we communicate with others. We're shifting the focus to the digital world, the places where many of us spend a lot of time.
Today's topic is all about relationships in the digital age and how technology, gaming, and online platforms influence the way we behave, connect, and sometimes disconnect.
And on this complicated subject, who's better than Cloé and Loann to give us some insight?
Thank you. We're living in a world where our social life exists as much online as it does offline, and sometimes even more. Video games, social media, virtual reality, they connect us, they inspire us, and they create communities. But they also isolate us. People spend entire evenings alone, always online, but yet still feeling alone. Digital intimacy, parasocial relationship, AI companions, technology is changing the way we connect emotionally and socially. Today, we're diving into this fascinating and complex world to explore the dual nature of online life, how it can bring us together and sometimes push us apart. Let's take a closer look.
While these two can bring us together, they can also reveal a striking duality, one especially visible in video games. On the one hand, gaming creates real bonds, so people build friendships in Discord, join guilds, form teams, and share goals, and they also feel part of a community. But some studies from the Oxford Internet Institute even show that cooperative games can increase communication skills, confidence, and social belonging. But on the other hand, we also see the opposite effect. People spending entire evening alone in their rooms, talking to no one, living inside virtual worlds. And that's what psychologists call being connected but alone, always online yet still feeling isolated. So that makes me wonder, do you think that video games make us more like social or alone?
For me, I think video games can really bring people together. For example, my brother made a best friend online and he actually went to Texas to visit him in real life. So that's crazy.
Actually, I think it can be both. Just as you said, I think you can be more social and yet still feel very alone.
Well, actually, it depends entirely on how we use them. The same duality exists in terms of mental health because gaming can reduce stress, it can help us escape pressure, make us feel competent, or give a structure to our free time. But it can also become a coping mechanism that replaces real life, leading to addiction, anxiety, and sleep issues. So maybe the why question isn't are games good or bad, but rather when does healthy entertainment become an unhealthy coping mechanism?
Exactly. Technology has also changed how we connect emotionally and romantically. For instance, during lockdown, digital spaces replaced real ones. Dating apps, social media, video games, even virtual reality became places where people flirted, bonded, and sometimes even fell in love. And what's interesting is that many of these habits stayed. For Gen Z especially, opening up online feels safer than face-to-face with fewer judgments, fewer risks, and more control. But not all these connections are mutual sometimes. Today, parasocial relationships, so the emotional attachment we form with streamers, influencers, or fictional characters are everywhere. They can be comforting, inspiring, and sometimes a source of support. They can also create unrealistic expectations or even identity issues because we care deeply about people we don't even know we exist. And talking about that, Chloe, there's also the question about digital intimacy.
Of course, there is OnlyFans, for example, which is completely reshaping digital intimacy. For some, it's empowerment, financial independence, and free expression. But for others, it's exploitation or unrealistic expectation about real-life relationships. Either way, it changes how intimacy work and relationships are defined in the digital era. And of course, we can't talk about online spaces without talking about toxicity. Bullying, harassment, and discrimination are huge problems, especially in gaming. Voice chat can be hostile, competitive spaces can turn aggressive, and many players, especially women, face daily harassment. So it raises the question, why is being anonymous sometimes bring out the worst in people, and what can platforms do to make these spaces safer? But speaking of how people behave online, there's another trend that's becoming huge and open a whole new set of questions about digital interactions. AI girlfriend. Have you heard about them?
Honestly, I'm not a fan of AI girlfriends. To me, it feels like a substitute for real emotion and connection, and relationships are all about trust and shared experiences.
Actually, I watched a documentary about it, and it was very interesting, but the concept feels kind of weird if you ask me.
Well, I did, and it's one of the newest and perhaps strangest developments, I think. Those are some apps designed to offer like emotional support, affection, and personalized companionship. They're always kind, available, never disagree, and adapt to your emotional needs. What a dream. But for some people, they also feel a void. They can also create an illusion of intimacy, a relationship with no conflict, no complexity, and no responsibility. And that could seriously like distort how people approach real relationships, I think.
So yes, technology connects us in fascinating new ways, but it also raises new risks, new questions, and new responsibilities.
And in the end, maybe the core question behind all of this is simply, are we using technology to enhance our relationships or to replace them?
Okay, so before we continue, we're really excited to announce a special partnership for today's show.
We've teamed up with Yoga Bordeaux Saint-Seurin, an amazing yoga studio here in Bordeaux, and together we're hosting a little Instagram giveaway for you guys, our audience.
You will enter the chance to win a free yoga class and have the opportunity to bring a friend.
To participate, it's very simple. Simply like our Instagram post, follow both of accounts, Control Room and Yoga Bordeaux Saint-Seurin, and finally tag the person you wish to accompany you to the class in the comments.
And for a bonus chance, you can share the post in your story.
The contest will close on December 20th, so make sure you participate before then. Good luck to everyone, and thank you, Yoga Bordeaux Saint-Seurin, for partnering with us today.
Now let's get back to our topics. Following our discussion about relationships in the digital age, we now turn to another urgent question, which is how the digital world is blurring the line between reality and illusion.
Exactly. From fake news to AI-generated media and chatbots that act like companions, the online world is becoming increasingly difficult to trust, and that has real consequences for all of us. In order to cover this topic, let's pass it on to Chloe.
Thank you. In this segment, we're diving into a topic that's transforming our entire digital experience, the growing difficulty of distinguishing what's real online. With deepfake, AI-generated content, and artificial relationships, the boundary between authenticity and illusion is becoming increasingly unclear. To shed light on these issues, we spoke with Cyril Jouison, a specialist in digital culture and the social effect of new technologies. Cyril couldn't join us on set today because he's currently in Strasbourg, where he serves as head of patronage and resources development for the Strasbourg Philharmonic Orchestra. However, he kindly agreed to speak with us via video call. This interview will be conducted in French and you'll hear his perspective throughout this segment.
On va d'abord parler d'un problème qui est très humain et qui est très présent, celui de la haine en ligne, parce que la confiance ne s'effondre pas seulement à cause de la technologie, mais à cause de la manière dont on traite les autres personnes en ligne. Donc aujourd'hui sur les plateformes, le harcèlement envers les créatrices est bien plus virulent qu'envers les hommes. Donc selon vous, pourquoi les femmes semblent-elles recevoir beaucoup plus de haine en ligne que les hommes?
Je pense qu'il y a un problème profond en fait sur déjà l'expression et les modes d'expression en ligne, assez différents finalement que dans la vraie vie, puisque dans la vraie vie, on ne se permettrait pas d'interrompre violemment, d'insulter pour un oui ou pour un non, qui que ce soit. Et c'est vrai que ce phénomène est amplifié dès lors qu'il s'agit de contenu produit par des femmes. Cette manière de faire est le reflet d'une partie de la société, de la partie la plus violente, parce que c'est un peu toujours le même sujet, c'est-à-dire que ceux qu'on entend le plus sur les réseaux notamment, ce sont ceux qui sont les plus en colère, véhéments, les plus extrêmes en fait. La grande majorité des personnes en ligne ont une attitude tout à fait correcte. Pourquoi les femmes semblent recevoir plus de haine? Parce que je pense que déjà la misogynie existe. En plus, depuis le développement des mouvements masculinistes, elle est organisée. On l'a vu avec le procès Johnny Depp-Amber Heard, qui est vraiment révélateur de ce mode de fonctionnement, d'attaque perpétuelle, de dénigrement perpétuel. Et effectivement, c'est spécifique de la haine en ligne, c'est cette misogynie décomplexée. De même qu'on voit le racisme, l'antisémitisme, l'homophobie, on voit qu'en ligne, effectivement, il n'y a plus de filtre.
Et justement, cette violence en ligne, elle s'inscrit dans un environnement où tout devient flou. Donc les frontières du vrai et du faux sont en train de disparaître. Ce n'est plus seulement ce que les gens disent qui fait mal, c'est aussi ce qu'ils peuvent créer artificiellement. Donc on entre maintenant dans le chapitre le plus inquiétant, celui où la technologie rend le mensonge indétectable. Donc aujourd'hui, entre deepfake, IA et voix synthétique, synthétique. Est-ce que vous pensez que le public peut encore distinguer le vrai du faux?
C'est de plus en plus compliqué. Là, j'ai vu sur une plateforme des photos générées par une IA récente. C'est bluffant. Étant professionnel de la communication, on est habitué à recouper les sources. On a des points d'attention particuliers que peut-être le public n'a pas. Mais là, c'est bluffant, c'est très inquiétant. Ça rejoint la notion de l'anonymat. En fait, on est sur les mêmes sujets. Le développement des médias en ligne a permis, sous couvert d'anonymat, d'être présent, des fois sans conséquence, et puis parfois avec la haine et de la manipulation. Alors, c'est vrai qu'on pense à anonymat, donc on se dit, on peut générer ce qu'on veut. On peut se dire, en fait, un peu pas vu, pas pris finalement. Mais c'est complètement faux parce qu'il y a un arsenal légal qui permet de retrouver l'identité de la personne dès lors qu'un délit ou un crime est avéré. C'est du pseudonymat plus que de l'anonymat. Non, on n'échappe pas aux lois de la République derrière son ordinateur ou derrière son smartphone.
Et donc ce brouillard du vrai et du faux ne concerne pas uniquement l'information puisqu'il touche aussi nos émotions, nos relations, nos attachements. Parce que pendant qu'on se bat pour reconnaître la vérité, certaines personnes trouvent refuge dans des relations artificielles. Donc on va maintenant parler d'un phénomène aussi fascinant que déroutant. Ce sont donc les partenaires émotionnels créés par l'IA. Est-ce que selon vous, c'est un réel besoin ou est-ce que c'est un symptôme d'isolement?
Je pense que c'est peut-être un peu des deux. En fait, ce ne sont pas des partenaires émotionnels parce qu'il n'y a pas d'échange. Une IA, vous allez lui faire une demande ou vous allez échanger sur un sujet. D'ailleurs, même le terme échanger est peut-être un peu impropre. Il va avoir comme ça un aller-retour de messages. Il n'y a pas évidemment le recul et ou l'apport émotionnel que vous pouvez avoir avec une personne réelle avec qui vous avez échangé. Parce qu'il y a un élément qui n'apparaît absolument pas avec ses compagnons, entre guillemets, c'est le côté sensoriel. C'est-à-dire que quand là, vous voyez, on se parle, on se voit, on peut interpréter des retours, tout un tas de choses qui font partie de la relation, de la communication. Que la communication, c'est 87% du non-verbal. Avec l'IA, forcément, on n'a que du verbal et analytique. Alors après, est-ce que c'est un symptôme d'isolement? Je ne suis pas totalement convaincu, en fait. Dans certains cas, c'est possible, mais dans beaucoup de cas, c'est aussi une manière, je pense, d'avoir sous le coude un outil accessible et qui permet de conserver une forme peut-être de pudeur, c'est-à-dire qu'il y a peut-être des choses qu'on n'ose pas dire à ses amis et qu'on peut plus facilement exposer auprès d'une IA. Et moi, le besoin que je vois associé à cette pratique, c'est un besoin de communication. Moi, j'ai une forme d'intuition qui me dirait que c'est pas une communication pleine, voire que c'est pas de la communication, mais ça remplacera jamais un échange avec une personne réelle.
Et justement, est-ce que vous pensez que ça peut avoir des impacts sociaux? Est-ce qu'on risque un jour de préférer systématiquement la facilité d'une relation artificielle à la complexité d'une relation humaine?
Oui, ça peut être un risque, effectivement. C'est toujours plus confortable d'être en face d'une machine qui déjà est toujours disponible, répond à tout ce que vous lui demandez, n'interfère pas ou ne confronte pas forcément. C'est beaucoup plus simple, évidemment. De là à ce que ça devienne un mode global de vie, j'espère pas.
Et donc justement, face à tout ça, donc la haine, la désinformation, les illusions numériques et même les relations artificielles, donc on peut se sentir un peu perdu et avoir peur. Mais donc il est temps maintenant de regarder vers l'avant et de comprendre comment on peut se protéger et surtout comment on peut reconstruire la confiance dans notre monde numérique. Et donc j'ai une dernière question pour vous, Cyril. Comment selon vous, on peut protéger notre société et se protéger nous-mêmes dans un monde où voir n'est plus croire?
Il faut être très vigilant. Je reste sur la notion d'effort, c'est-à-dire que ça peut être très paresseux de prendre un flow comme ça qui vient. On a une responsabilité personnelle et collective d'être vigilant. De même que les entreprises, si on se place du côté professionnel, ont une exigence éthique à avoir sur les contenus qu'elles génèrent. Comment faire pour protéger une société dans un monde où voir n'est plus croire? Je pense que c'est un peu le défi des années à venir. Sans citer saint Thomas, je ne crois que ce que je vois. Et ça, c'était longtemps quelque chose qui pouvait se vérifier. Désormais, il faut être certain que ce qu'on nous donne à voir n'est pas forcément la vérité, mais qui peut avoir une manipulation. Alors ça peut être du divertissement qui ne porte pas à conséquence, mais ça peut être beaucoup plus manipulatoire. Alors pour le coup, on a un exemple grandeur nature avec Donald Trump, qui utilise l'IA générative de manière continue, en créant des vidéos d'une violence hallucinante. Je me rappelle cette vidéo virale, il fait générer une vidéo où on voyait déverser des matières fécales sur la population. Enfin, imaginez quand même le président des États-Unis. Je pense pour nos démocraties, il faut arriver à combattre et sensibiliser contre les discours de haine. Et là, ça revient sur le point de départ de notre conversation. Le digital n'est pas une zone de non-droit. Néanmoins, il faut aussi des moyens, à la fois au service de l'État, police, justice, pour être efficace sur ces points-là.
A big thank you to Cyril Jouison for sharing his insight with us, even from Strasbourg. His reflection helped us better understand the challenges of navigating the digital world today, from online harassment to deepfake and artificial relationships. I think one thing is certain, the digital world is becoming a place where everything looks real, even when it isn't.
Exactly. We started with online hate, then moved on into deepfakes, fake boys, AI-generated faces, and we end up with people forming emotional bonds with artificial partners. It's like reality keep glitching.
Yes, and the scariest part, these illusions don't just trick our eyes, they shape our feelings, our relationships, and even our identity online.
But here is the twist. The solution isn't to fear technology, it's to understand it, to become more aware, more critical, and more intentional about what we consume and who we trust.
Right, and because if seeing is no longer believing, then the real challenge is learning how to navigate the blurry lines together and not alone.
A huge thank you to Cyril Jouison for guiding us through this maze of illusions. His perspective reminds us that behind every digital tools, it's still humans who decide what to do with it.
And now, to take us further to the conversation and wrap up the show,
Clara and Agathe, back to you.
What a show! From esports and online communities to streaming, AI, and the digital economy, we've seen just how much online entertainment shapes the way we live, work, and connect.
Absolutely. A huge thank you to Cyril Badoz and Cyril Jouison for sharing their expertise and giving us an inside look of the world of professional gaming and digital culture. And of course, thank you to all for joining us today.
Whether you're a dedicated gamer, a content creator, or just curious about how technology is transforming our everyday life, remember this. Digital entertainment isn't just fun, it's influencing our habits, our relationships, and even our careers.
And before we go, don't forget to check out our special giveaway with Yoga Bordeaux Saint-Saurin. A lucky winner will get a yoga class for 2. Just like the post, follow both accounts, and tag someone you like to bring. Up until December 20th.
Thanks again to everyone for watching and for being part of the discussion today.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time on Control Room. Keep exploring, connecting, and enjoying your world.